great. Dr. Richard Johnson from Lancaster University, thank you for joining us. I guess the big question here is, how damaging do you think these developments are going to be for President Trump?
Well, this is very serious. I mean, we haven't seen a day like this in US presidential history since the 1st of March 1974, when a grand jury indicted the Watergate 7 and named Richard Nixon as a co-conspirator. But the politics of that time is so different from now. The partisan environment has changed enormously. And so what Donald Trump is doing at the moment is trying to win a war in the court of public opinion, because at the end of the day, that's really all that matters for him. The president cannot be brought in front of a judge on a criminal charge while he is president. That is a well-established precedent in US constitutional practice. And so the only threat to Donald Trump's future is an impeachment charge and an impeachment trial, which is held in the United States Senate. And so the key for Donald Trump is to ensure that he doesn't get 67 US senators to turn against him.
Well, I guess that is the big question. I mean, we do have the midterms coming up in just a few months. How likely do you see that going blue, going toward the Democrats, meaning that the president just might face impeachment?
Well, if the Democrats win the House, which many people think is a serious possibility, then I think there'll be an enormous amount of pressure on Democratic leadership to push forward with some kind of impeachment charge. I think this could be quite fraught for the Democrats, however, because even if they have a majority in the House to put the charges forward, they need a supermajority in the Senate, 67 seats, 67 votes in the Senate, in order to remove the president from office. And I don't think that that's likely. You would need roughly about 17 Republican senators to vote to remove their own president. And while that might have been the case in the 1970s, when you had moderates and even liberal Republican senators, today that's much less likely. As long as Donald Trump ensures that the Republican base is behind him, I can't see that number of senators peeling off to remove him.
Well, I guess that's really the big question here that many people outside the United States just don't understand. Why is Trump's Republican base still behind him after what seems to be one catastrophe after another?
Well, it's Donald Trump's Fifth Avenue thesis. He said he could shoot someone dead in Fifth Avenue and his supporters would still love him. And I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, this, we may see that is borne through again. I think some of that has to do with severely low levels of trust that a substantial segment of the American population have in political institutions. And this is a trend which has been occurring for a very long time in American politics. And I think that Donald Trump is a beneficiary of that. Americans don't look at Congress, they don't look at the courts with a great deal of confidence. And for a number of Americans who don't trust politicians, they see Donald Trump as the sort of commensurate anti-politician. And so in that context, Donald Trump is going to continue to maintain their support.
Richard, thank you for that. It'll be interesting